what's going on, everyone? Matthew from therighttrader.com back again with another stock market video. Today we're going to be doing an analysis of Ford stock, obviously a company that's been hit very hard in the last couple months and hasn't been doing the best, but as you know, some pullbacks and dips can provide for great buying opportunities. This may be the case for Ford stock, and that's what we're going to be looking at today. Going to be trying to talk about where we might be heading in the next couple months for Ford. Is it undervalued as of right now, etc.? So obviously it's currently sitting at $5.31. It is back above $5, which is a key point to make here. It looks like its 52-week low was $3.96. So it is obviously great that we're back above $5. That is a key level. And now we're going to be looking to see if we can get back to $10 and how easy that might be, right? I do think that we are heading higher here, indeed, in the next couple weeks to months. Are we fully out of the clear? I wouldn't go as saying that, but we have opened up the opportunity, as you're going to see on the chart in just a few minutes here, that we have indeed gotten the breakout today, actually, that I think we needed to see. And that doesn't only go for Ford stock, that goes for many other stocks out there in the market, because Ford was not the only stock, as you can see over here, that bounced today. And what you're going to see on the chart is that it created a gap and go scenario where we should move higher from here in the medium term. In fact, the S&P 500 is right below 3,000. I believe that we can get back above 3,000 very soon, even potentially this week. So that's obviously going to be very great and add a lot of strength to the market overall. Also wanted to point out the market cap of Ford. That is relatively low right now, right? $21 billion. That is not that much for a big company like Ford. However, you should keep in mind that they have now suspended their dividend, like many other auto manufacturers such as General Motors, and that's obviously a big issue for me, as I tend to focus on dividend paying companies. Ford cutting its dividend, I had bought it actually when it was pretty low, somewhere in the $4 range. But when it cut its dividend, I decided to sell the stock just because for me it wasn't worth holding if it wasn't going to pay dividends. I also wanted to point out, just in comparison, that General Motors obviously is a competitor to Ford, and I like General Motors overall a lot more than Ford for various reasons, right? It's just a more stable company, probably is going to bring its dividend yield back sooner than Ford, and for many other reasons, I just feel like if you're comparing U.S. auto manufacturers, General Motors is just the better investment. With that being said, that doesn't mean that Ford isn't providing an opportunity here, because I definitely think it is, especially in the shorter term. It could actually even increase higher than General Motors in terms of price increase. Why is that the case? Well, if we take a look at what's happened, right, you're going to see that we have now broken above the downtrend line, and we actually gapped higher, creating a gap to fill right here, which we're going to talk about, because now that we have this gap, it will need to be filled sooner or later. So the price could fall back down here towards $5 to fill this gap, but we could head much higher before that happens. I mean, we could head all the way to around $8, where we have, another big gap to fill up here. And we have many others along the way, right? We've got a gap around $6.50 and another one around $7.80. So we've got three gaps here on the way higher to fill. And I do believe all three of those will need to be filled and will be filled as well. So that is good, because it provides sort of these target areas to focus on, and indeed zooming back out is what I expected, where we even have some gaps all the way up here towards this $10 area, which is kind of the highest I see Ford bouncing in the sort of medium term here. For now, $10 is going to be that higher price target, the absolute maximum, which I do feel we have every chance of reaching that level again. But keep in mind, we did create a gap here with this bounce higher. I don't think we're going to fill it short term, although if we do, that would be very good, because it would allow us to then move more freely higher without having to worry potentially about filling this gap again. Also should point out that we have tested below the 30 line on the RSI, and that we're now moving back above that. In fact, we have a very clean uptrend line now that's being formed, and this is significant for a couple reasons. This uptrend line is also going to be seen on the MACD, this creates a bullish divergence, which I've talked about this many times, where if we look at the price, right, we're actually sort of decreasing and downtrending on the price, while the actual RSI lines and MACD are moving higher. This is known as a bullish divergence because they are moving differently to the price in a bullish manner, and that usually tends to signal and foreshadow an actual increase in price, which I think we're going to see literally right now in the coming weeks. So this is happening almost live, so to say, where you can expect this this to pan out on the price side of things literally starting now. So, like I said, I expect Ford to indeed move higher here, even in the shorter term. And as you can see, we still have a little bit of a lingering downtrend here with these last couple highs. But depending on how you're going to take this, we are even somewhat moving almost above this downtrend line. So just to clear things up, I am going to remove these two downtrend lines. I am, however, going to put in some more longer term ones, just to give you an idea that we are still, in a downtrend for Ford. So keep that in mind, but it is not as bad as, just a few weeks ago where we were in a very bearish, negative price range scenario. So things are opening up on that level. And now that I put in these two downtrend lines, you kind of get an idea of where there's going to be a lot of resistance, because indeed I do think that we are going to start, bouncing pretty strongly higher from here. And then the question is going to be, where are we going to start facing some resistance? So let me go ahead and just approximate some of these resistance lines and target at levels. So first of all, everywhere where I put in a green circle here is going to be a resistance level, but also a target level that we can expect to reach. So, we got one at around $6.40, $6.50, then that other one around $8 and $8.72. So typically the resistance levels can be, anywhere from the beginning of the gap to the end of the gap. It doesn't really matter. This is just to sort of approximate where we're going to be heading and sort of those target levels that can be resistance as we first reach them, but also support once we move above them. That's a key thing to say, right? So for example, here around $6.50, it's going to act as resistance, but as soon as we're able to get back above that, we can rest assured that it's going to act as support, and then we'll be able to head higher then to the next level, which is going to be around $8. So this is a pattern that you're going to sort of expect here from Ford, is going to be to sort of bounce up and down in between these support and resistance levels, these target areas, right? And then once again, the sort of high approximation scenario here is going to be that $10 mark, sort of one of the last gaps to fill all the way up here. And if we reach that level, seeing how we had a lot of consolidation, then we can expect a lot of consolidation between $8.50 and $10, right? And that could last several weeks to even maybe a few months once we reach that $10 price range, which could take a bit of time, right? If we are going to zoom out just a bit here and sort of give you my prediction on how much time it may take to experience this rebound, we're going to be looking at, a relatively short amount of time to sort of reach, $6.50. That could happen, even within the next 2 to 3 weeks. Moving up to $8, that can happen within, a few weeks to maybe 2-3 months. Really, I mean, getting back to $8 and then potentially even $10 could happen within the next 6 months, maybe a year at the very most, but the shorter term bounce can happen very quickly. Now, if we then zoom out a bit more and talk about, can we recover to, let's say, $20? How long may it take for that to happen? And that's going to be a lot harder already, right? Reasons for that are the fact that, Ford has bigger problems at hand, bigger competition with electric car companies like Tesla that is also causing a lot of downward pressure, not just the market situation that happened here in the shorter term. So, that is both sort of a double-edged sword, where it's something to keep in mind, right? That it has some bigger structural problems that it needs to resolve, still creating an opportunity through that, but to also keep in mind that in the shorter term, since it has been hit so hard, it really is going to probably see a bounce here, like I said, $6.50 being a sort of initial target area, and then very quickly moving up to $8, and then we're going to see if we can get up to $10, and then we can expect some consolidation there, all still within a sort of 6-month to a year time frame at the very most here, especially for those lower targets of $6.50 and $8 can happen well within a 6-month time frame, which is already, you know, a nice 30-40% increase right there. So also just drew out here a symmetrical triangle pattern, which is going to be key in sort of seeing how the stock can move. And what could happen here, it looks like, is a very nice bounce in the next maybe 2 to 3 months up to $8.50, but then potentially experiencing another move downwards where we could reach back to that gap level that I talked about before around $5, and, you know, then at that point see if we're either going to move higher again once we reach the end of the symmetrical triangle or lower. Now that is very hard to tell what's going to happen. It's too hard to predict at that point what might happen, but indeed in the shorter term we do have a very nice and clear bounce opportunity that is very, very likely. And then from there we're going to have to see, can we get above this downtrend line, which is possible. Like I said, we're going to reach that $10 area, definitely possible. Or are we going to pull back from that and start moving lower again as we stay in the symmetrical triangle, trying to see really, are we ready to move higher, or could we even fall lower again? Because if you look back in the past, right, I believe Ford stock has before experienced moves all the way down to $2.69, you know, $2. So the fact that it's reached $2 before, back in 2008, could mean that we could see that again here in 2020. So, you know, it is a risky play that does come with a nice reward, but you have to keep in mind that Ford does have that risk surrounding it, and that, yes, you could experience a very strong recovery. Who knows, it could even get back to $15, $20 in the coming years, but you could also see it drop lower before that, right? Or even stay at some subdued prices. So you got to stay rational. You got to stay sort of tactical here with Ford stock, I feel like. And you could even play this more in the shorter term where, like I said, what is pretty clear to me and what I can say pretty confidently is that we are indeed going to get a bounce here in the shorter term, all the way up to, you know, even, you know, testing sort of that $10 area and then pulling back from that. Even that is possible. It's possible that we see a full almost 100% increase and that we end up moving lower again to fill this gap and to fall back lower. So ups and downs are going to happen for Ford stock. That's also pretty much guaranteed. But in the shorter term here, definitely a very nice bounce scenario. Well above a 30% price increase, I feel, is almost guaranteed at this point. With that being said, that's not financial advice, just my personal opinion. This is the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Also follow me on Twitter for live market updates. And make sure to check out my technical analysis master course, The Ultimate Guide to Technical Analysis. It's less than $20 and comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. We've gotten great ratings, so make sure to check that out if you're interested. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. I'll see you next time.